Okay, so I'm a 42 female. My husband is 42 male. Has informed me he intends to go on a gay-cation with his BIL 35M brother-in-law with his brother-in-law. Okay. How do I handle this? Trigger warnings. Gay sex. Hey there, I really hope I really wish I didn't have to make this post, but here goes. Me and my husband have been happily married for about 16 years, give or take. We both have stable careers, a good family life, and are fairly fortunate despite the cost of living and raking
I
the
make
UK
goon
right
art
now.
for fun and money, and I go months without jerking. I do other things than just goon, but gooning is fun too. Balance people.
There we go. We got an enlightened gooner. We have two boys, 15 and 10, and up until this Sunday, though we had it pretty good. We sometimes argue, but it's never gotten bad. We have a pretty decent sex life with some exploration, but I won't get into that. I understand not wanting to get into that, but I have a feeling that this entire scenario exists over a lack of discussion with your sex life. Long and short is on Sunday, just after I dropped our boys off at their friends, my husband asked me if we had the house alone, and more importantly, do I have a minute? I said
Here's money
yes.
for reading the Gay-cation story.
Thank you. I said yes, and he sat me down and then got out this printed poster for some sort of orgy. It started explaining to me the concept of a gay-cation. I'm picturing the Pepe Sylvia thing, but there's like a gay sex image behind him. He takes out a printed poster is insane. How it's where straight men go to sometime. Oh my god, I can't fucking read today. It's where straight men go to somewhere with sun, sand, and booze and become gay for the duration of the trip. You know, men just used to do this in Greece, right? But now we live in a society with all these rules. But that's Diogenes said that too, Chad. He actually said that too. What happens on a gaycation stays on
Oh,
gaycation.
Reddit thread, this bodes well.
I was just completely silent and mortified, even more so when he said he was looking into booking a trip to Ibiza next year with his brother-in-law, his sister's husband, to experience it for himself. He then finally let me speak. I just said, I need him to be clear with me. Is he gay? Because if yes, that's okay, but we need to figure out what's going to happen going forward. I didn't let myself get angry or upset. I was just stunned. He swore up and down he's not gay, and he's 100% attracted to women, and of course still loves me and our boys. So I said, well, do you think maybe you're bi? And he got very defensive, saying how I need to drop the accusations and that this is the beauty of the gaycation. It allows straight men to experience gayness without actually being gay, and how it's like going to an aquarium. Okay. My dearest grown man in this, you sound like you have sexual hangups about your sexuality, and it probably comes from when you were a young person. If you were 40, you're probably about, you know, maybe late Gen X or whatever, right? You or like really late millennial, right? So you were growing up in a time where that kind of sexuality spectrum wasn't allowed. And so you are very, very turned off by the idea of labels. And it's okay. You don't have to abide by any of those labels, but you should also realize that these things are much more flexible, much like the twink you'll be railing in Ibiza. Diesel doesn't get the gaycation. I do understand the gaycation, right? He's trying to justify to himself why it's not gay for him to have gay sex. He's doing the guy thing where men will do this thing where they're like, oh, that's not gay, and it's like totally kind of a little gay. Like, keep reading. And again, he was adamant he doesn't find men's bodies or genitalia exciting at all, but he needs to experience this apparently. That doesn't make any sense. I said, well, I'm not really comfortable because even if he was bi, he would be explicitly cheating on me. And he got angry and reiterated he's not, because that's the beauty of the gaycation. I just had enough and left the room. I ignored him for the rest of the day, but we spoke at tea, where I again asked him why does he want to do this so bad if he's not gay. He said he's interested. He said how he's interested in how gay men's lives differ to straight men's, and that unfortunately, once the gay-cation begins, it's simply impossible for a man to resist, and he must surrender himself, mind, body, and soul to the gay-cation or be destroyed. this guy is talking about going on the gay-cation like he's going off to war. Dude, just paint your fucking nails, dude. I don't know what to tell you. You don't need to be so fucking literal with it, all right? Dude, you know when they say be destroyed, he actually becomes the biscuit in the soggy biscuit. I really can't put into words how surreal it was because he was speaking so matter of fact. And again, he insists that this is a thing straight men do all the time. And now he's actually doing it a bit late. I don't know a single male straight friend that I have that has ever said they're going to do a gaycation. I said to him, if he has any love for me, then he can't go ahead with this. And if he does, the marriage will be dead. We didn't speak anymore after that. And you know what? That's a reasonable position to be as a wife in this situation. Since then he mentioned no more of it, but somehow, this is what scares me a lot too. That decision genuinely seems to be tearing him up. He didn't go into work on Monday and only went in a half day yesterday because he told them he just felt too ill, and he looks distraught every time I see him. I really don't think he's wholly gay, though. I can absolutely believe he's bi, but I'd rather we talk about that in a healthy way rather than this incredibly weird denialism that's going on around a sex holiday in Ibiza. Has anyone known straight guys to do this? Straight guys don't do this. And come back and just go to being straight. Like, surely that can't be a thing that happens. You need to sit down with a therapist and work out your husband's sexuality together because you need a mediator for this conversation. I'm so out of my depth here, and I just don't even know how to initiate the conversation. For the record, I also haven't mentioned it to his sister yet. I don't even know how to break it to her. Thanks for any of the help. Wow, this blew up. It's been incredibly sobering. And I think I've now confirmed what I already knew to be the case. My marriage is dead one way or another. Jesus Christ. Average Redditor goes to Reddit for advice. I think I need a divorce. I mean, probably, but you got 2 kids. I don't know if you should throw in a towel just yet. I mean, do you really love each other? It's been 16 years. I mean, honestly, if she was going to Reddit for advice, it was done already, right? Like, yeah, it is divorce territory, right? But it's like, you know, if there's any like mutual love and you're like going through a issue with like sexual identity or gender identity with your partner, it's like maybe that's like something you work out not with Reddit, right? In a way, I was in denial about that myself. I've contacted my sister-in-law, and initially she screamed at me, calling me a liar, and even insinuated that I was trying to steal her husband. She rang me back shortly after, apologized, and admitted that she was in deep, deep shock. His definition of a gaycation sounds like a guy going on a trip to cheat on his wife, which I can absolutely believe. Yeah, that's what I think it is. I could see straight men lying, saying they're bisexual to explore their bisexuality, hoping their wives are going to be in enough shock that they can go fly to a foreign country to fuck somebody. I could totally see that being the case, right? Where it's just like a cover for him like cheating on the wife with another woman, right? I have asked my parents to look after the boys, and we're going to meet tomorrow to discuss this deeper. I've also texted my husband and told him we need to make alternative accommodation arrangements, but he will not be sleeping here tonight, and a bag will be waiting for him. Not sure if the mods want to lock this post or not, but I think I've got my answers. Thank you all for the kind words. Especially Champion Flight, who gave me a really good dose of the reality I needed. P.S. I see a lot of people asking about the aquarium, and the risk of doxing myself. There's a pretty famous aquarium in the UK called The Deep. At the very end of the walk, you walk through a tunnel that goes underneath the main fish tank. So it's quite immersive, I suppose. My husband explained the aquarium thing in that it's a bit like that. You go there, you observe the fishes, you even get a bit up close, but you never actually enter the water, quote unquote, get emotionally invested or become a fish. So it really doesn't count. So he's just going to go there, stare at men have gay sex, and then come home? It was a very bizarre analogy, and I pointed out it makes no sense. And he just got more in a huff about how I just don't get it. And frankly, I still don't. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Your husband isn't proposing a gaycation. He's proposing cheating on you with men while using the magical thinking to pretend it doesn't count. The fact that he's planning this with his sister's husband makes it even more disturbing. His bizarre explanation about surrendering mind, body, and soul isn't a straight man's curiosity. It's someone desperately trying to justify exploring his sexuality while keeping his heterosexual marriage. His depression about not being able to go isn't about missing a vacation. It's about being forced to confront his sexuality without his convenient "what happens in Ibiza stays in Ibiza" excuse. If you screwed a gay guy, you're in the fish tank. Yeah, if it happens, you're gay. That's like a guy's mind, right? Where it's like all very binary, right? Like the concept of like a bisexual guy for most straight men is completely alien, because you could have sex with like 1,000 women, but the second you fuck one guy, you're gay. His meltdown and blah blah blah. He's avoiding facing his reality. I read over this multiple times, and I guess the worst part is I know you're completely right. Go to marriage therapy. Go to marriage therapy, guys. Holy shit. I hate Reddit people, because Reddit people, this is not like I'm sorry, but this, you shouldn't go to Reddit for marriage advice. Is that an unreasonable thing to say? I understand where she's coming from and why she's so fucking torn up about it, and she has all the reason to be, right? But this needs to be like in a conversation with somebody who can be a good mediator for both people in the marriage. This is what marriage counseling is for, okay? Right? Like there's a lot of stakes involved with this person's marriage, because there's fucking kids that are like teenagers, okay? Talk it out at the Gay-cation. You should consider a divorce. I wanted to avoid a divorce option, but I guess it's the only option, isn't it? Ay, Dios mío, pendejo. So this is just a thought, but I'm wondering if he was really planning on doing the Gay-cation, or if that was just a cover to get you to agree with it. What if the real plans was to get with a woman while he's down there? Yeah, I could see that being the case, but I actually think the guy is either bisexual or gay based on the words he was saying, and he's trying to maintain his perception. So a man, if they were raised their entire life to be straight and they have like a really binary view of sexuality, is gonna like grow up, and then they're gonna think, if I have any like bisexual tendencies, then I'm just full on gay, and I'm not gay because that's not manly, right? So when he has to confront the reality of whether or not he is gay or not, it also becomes a question about his own masculinity, right? Which is very important to a lot of men, and that's completely fine. Right, but you know, he's trying to like cover it up by going on this fucking vacation and saying, oh, this isn't really me being gay, this is just like pretend gay. To be honest, I hadn't thought of that, and the thought of it terrifies me from the way he was talking about men and the fact that he had a poster for a gay orgy. I mean, it's one hell of a bluff, surely. Your husband likes men. I never thought being gay wasn't masculine. It's kind of the opposite. I think a lot of straight men who grow up in like the whole heteronormative like setting where it's like, oh, it's only Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve type growing up, kind of grow up with that mentality that being gay is somehow less masculine, and being a gay bottom is the most emasculine. Tell him you're gonna have a straight-cation while he's gone, and you're gonna surrender mind, body, and soul to other men. Honest to God, if my husband proposed this to me, I'd use his time away to pack up, move out, and have divorce papers waiting for him. Nothing more manly than taking 13 inches and walking it off. Okay, so the Redditor goes on to relay the rest of her failing marriage. So when I last posted, I contacted my husband to tell him he wouldn't be staying at home tonight, and it would be waiting for him. As you can imagine, we argued quite badly. I won't go into the specific details, but no, I'm not 100% on board with the fact, at minimum, that he's bi. Might even be gay altogether. We've had arguments in the past, but I've genuinely never seen him in such a childish tantrum before, screaming about how I don't understand a gay-cation. Absolutely despise that phrase now, and insinuating I'm actually homophobic because I refuse to allow him to participate in this cultural exchange with the gay community. A lot of you said to ask him if it's acceptable if the roles were reversed, and I did say it. I did say, would it be acceptable if I went and slept with other guys during that week? Like fucking clockwork, he was very angry and offended, saying it's completely different because the gaycation means nothing, and what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation. Well, what if you went to Ibiza and had sex with women? So doesn't actually count. Whereas I'd just be straight up cheating. Well, I turned it around to him. Now, but you see what happens in Manchester stays in Manchester. Yeah, but like that's Manchester. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't count. It's like bird watching. And I think it like got through to him. He went all quiet and then started crying, admitting that he thought of me sleeping with another man is destroying his heart, but the relationship needs to be sacrifices. So agreed while in tears that when he goes on a gaycation, I'll get 1 week in Manchester to do whatever I want. Oh my god. He doesn't want me to, but that's fair in a twisted way, I suppose. He suppose. Okay. I told him to get out of my house. Thankfully, he left without a fight. I know it's incredibly petty, but I also drained a joint bank account, legal in the UK, so he couldn't try to use it against me. About an hour later, I got a rung up from the mother-in-law who's screaming and screamed at me about being a cheating whore, how I was horrible. What about the kids? That one, this is wild. This is wild.
When are you and Beckett going on Gay-cation?
I am not going on Gay-cation with Beckett. I'm really worried that this funny story is going to take like a really horrific turn for the worst, and that it's going to get really dark really fast. When I finally got my composure back, and I just said to ask your son about the gaycation, obviously, at first she got angry, but I said no, just ask him about the gaycation. He'll explain, but she called me a fucking joke and hung up. Later on into the evening, I got another phone call from her in a flood of tears. She was very apologetic, and I told her she doesn't need to be the one to apologize. She was so upset she put FIL on the phone. Oh, father-in-law on the phone, who, while he sounded calm, I could just sort of tell he was on a warpath. I guarantee you, while they're very upset about the marriage, they're even more upset about the fact their son is gay. Again, very apologetic. He said he overheard the phrase, asked my husband, and my husband has said, no, it's nothing, before explaining how it's a modern thing men do, and gave them the same spiel about what happens on gaycation. Men cannot resist the gaycation, how a man must surrender to the gaycation, etc. The father-in-law said they told him to leave or they'd call the police. Don't care where he goes, but he wasn't staying there. Yee! Yee! Husband tried to call me while I was on the phone, but I just ignored it. And the father-in-law said he was so sorry for me and that they have my quarter in this. So that's one thing. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Told them to be there for their daughter because it sounds like the brother-in-law is involved. Husband didn't tell them that. And the father-in-law just said he had to go because he was so angry. I got a text from my husband after the phone call, which was all weird and rambly, saying how I had abused the gaycation to destroy his marriage and destroy his life. I mean, you kind of threw the first stone, buddy, not to not to throw stones in gay glass houses, but you did throw the first stone here. And again insinuated I and his parents were homophobic for doing such a thing. Jesus Christ. Told him we'll talk when he grows up, and I blocked his number. I took the day off work myself to have the locks changed this morning. So that's 500 euro gone, but it's whatever. At least I know he won't be coming back. I'm going to be looking at how to proceed with divorce, and then we'll move on from there. Oh, of course, there's also the brother-in-law. So I haven't yet met the sister-in-law. She was in such a state. taking it far worse than I have for reasons that'll be clear soon. We're going to maybe try tomorrow, but we did speak over the phone, and I eavesdropped on the conversation with her husband where she put her phone on speaker and I went on mute. Her husband got home earlier. She made him come home and told him there was an emergency and just said to him, "Can you please explain what a gay-cation is?" She told me afterwards she was praying he'd look confused or just be like, "What?" or like anything like that. But instead he sat down and explained what a gay-cation is, a new thing where straight men go to gay hotspots and participate in gay sex acts, but it doesn't count because it's no investment. And because what happens on gay-cation stays on gay-cation. He said it's like writing down angry thoughts and putting them in a drawer. You never have to see them again. These guys just cannot admit they're bisexual. Holy shit. Oh my god. You are bi. I diagnose you with bisexuality. If they're in the UK, shouldn't they be calling these holigays? No, holigays is what you put on a fucking egg. Whole time the sister-in-law is in tears, and he just calmly bats off the same points my husband did about how it doesn't count, and how he even did the whole "it's impossible to resist, you must surrender or be destroyed" shit. I seriously think they must be speaking to a dominatrix or something. Are there even male doms? Okay. Honey. Okay. God, because surely neither of them are into that, into this, and are just making that up on your own. I really don't want to go into what was discussed for her sake, but it did come very apparent to me that the brother-in-law is into sissy hypno porn, and at the time conflated that with the concept of a gay-cation. Jesus Christ. Oh my god.
The husband and Bill just wanted to smash each other and wanted an excuse.
That's what I think. That sounds the most likely of the scenarios, right? They probably found each other both attractive and said, "Let's go away and like have a romance." There's no way that this wife or none of the people involved in this had no inkling that maybe these guys were a little bisexual. There is no fucking way. I refuse to believe that nobody in this scenario had any idea that anybody was gay or bi or whatever, okay? But like this guy wants an excuse to cheat, and it is cheating, right? But I do not fucking believe that they went through 16 years of marriage and went, "I have no idea. I had no idea my husband kind of liked men." There's no way.
Tinfoil hat theory, but what if it's two gay guys in deep ops trying for a child with women and escape to gay-cation every year to be themselves?
Am I on the right path with this?
Keep reading Diesel.
There was an utterly surreal moment where the sister-in-law was trying to wrap her head around this while also in floods of tears, and he explains that it's generally so matter-of-fact that most men, the gay-cation is either a one-time or annual thing, but most men go on a gay-cation for years, and others simply never return, because they use hypnosis and mind control to be totally feminized into a state of permanent pseudo-gayness. She said in disbelief, "Surely, if you're taking it up to arse willingly because you want to, that makes you gay." He said no, because that's the beauty of gay-cation. You can do all this gay stuff, but you don't interact with the wider gay life experience. What the fuck are you talking about, brother? Are you talking about wearing like frilly clothes? Is that your idea of like a gay, like the gay life experience? Gay men can be more manly than you, okay? The gay life experience, you're making something up. Oh my god. She asked him if the sissy stuff is what he wanted, and he said not on a long-term basis. It was adamant that this is something all straight men do, because she wouldn't get it because she's a woman. Then there were more insinuations of homophobia. Well, that marriage is dead, I suppose, too. The whole ordeal ended when she said to him he has a choice to make, and he said no, he doesn't need to make this choice because that's the beauty of the Gay-cation. Allows him to keep his marriage because it doesn't count. She said that it's not a choice. The choice is whether he's leaving the house that night or she is. Only good thing he did was leave. Me and the sister-in-law spoke after that, and I'm just still utterly stunned. I understand she's gone to her parents for the support of what exactly did we do with our lives to be destroyed in such an abrupt, bizarre, and embarrassing way. Personal advice, I'm going to look at devices and bank statements to see if I can definitive proof of cheating. After that, I suppose to figure out how I tell my boys why their father won't be coming home. Spoke to my sister-in-law. My husband's family is the older sister, him, blah, 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 and gave her a skimmed-down version of it. She asked her husband, and thankfully he was deeply confused, but then mentioned about 2 years ago at a birthday party, he was approached by my husband and the brother-in-law about signing up for some online boot camp around BDSM cross-dressing. He assumed that they were taking the piss out of him, so he told them to fuck off and never really thought of it again. The fact that this has been going on for that long is making me want to throw up. Your brother-in-law and husband have been having gay sex. They wanted to go on a gay romantical vacation, okay? You have been living a lie. Your husband likes men. I am sorry. I know I've told this story before, but I had an ex one time, chat, and I liked her a lot. And she was a biomedical engineer, very smart. And she was in a sorority. And it was one night we were laying in bed, and she turns to me and she says, Diesel, how do you feel about gay people? And I said, I don't have a problem with gay people. Why? And she was like, I was just curious. And she was in a sorority, and so her little, because she was an elder sister in a sorority, her little is the one she was in charge of. But I found out over the course, like I had started dating her, and then I had found out she had told me on Valentine's Day that she had been sleeping with her little, right? So she was a sophomore and she was sleeping with her freshman junior, right? And she was like, yeah, I'm actually gay. And it's like, as like a guy in a relationship, like I can't be mad because you're like, oh, I found out that I'm actually gay, but I was too embarrassed to tell you. Right? So I can't be mad at that because it's like, okay, well, that's your sexuality. I don't want to be an asshole about it. But then I also am mad because you never told me. Right? But I can't be like mad about it because it's like, okay, I understand you cheated, but it's like, all right, like whatever. And then later on, she invited me to her lesbian wedding.
Sorry, I just got here and the first thing I hear is hypnosis, sissification, vacation, so I guess I'll be staying.
So she was full on straight up gay. Right? Not a hint of man loving in her. Did you watch? Honestly, if I was me now at 27, I totally would have gone for the sake of the
16 months
sake of the bit.
Membership. Cheating never will be whatever.
It happens in life, right? I'm not like, obviously I was upset in the moment, but like looking back on it, I can't imagine that I expended so much emotional energy being upset about it, right? Because when you're cheated on, you sit around and think like, what did I do? What did I do wrong? Was there something wrong with me? No, there wasn't anything wrong with me. She was just fucking gay, okay? And she wasn't attracted to me, all right? Diesel 100% turned her gay. That's the excuse I used for years because it's like the funny excuse, right? But it's like, as time goes on, I sit there and I go, I can't believe I expended that kind of energy on that. There was something wrong with you. You weren't a woman. P.S. The poster who said about the divorce options, I'm actually going to look into adultery because plain and simple, that's what it is. Let's see, your husband and brother-in-law are in a deep shared delusion that destroyed two families. Their identical talking points about surrender and destruction prove that this is coordinated. This is just not planning to cheat. They're already involved in some online community that warped their thinking. The fact that they both instantly launched into the same script about gaycation shows that this isn't spontaneous. Yeah, I mean, there's probably a group where there's a bunch of men talking about going and having gay sex, right? But I'm telling you, your brother-in-law and your husband already had gay sex in the UK. You made the right call draining the account and changing the locks. Their attempts to flip this into accusations and homophobia show how desperately they're trying to avoid responsibility. The identical language, the bizarre aquarium bird watching analogies, the talk of surrender or be destroyed. I mean, that's definitely fetish talk. They're in some online echo chamber that's completely divorced from reality. They're on a forum to talk about a fetish. When your husband agreed to let you have a Manchester week while crying, he revealed the whole lie. He knows exactly what this is, cheating. He wants permission to do it while denying you the same. The talk about hypnosis and permanent feminization reveals just how far this goes. Get a lawyer, protect your assets, and document everything. It'll get worse before it gets better. Focus on protecting yourself and your children because they're too far gone in their shared fantasy to the destruction they're causing. What a pathetic hill for two men to die on. They destroyed their marriages, traumatized their families, and alienated their parents, all while insisting none of it counts because they made up a special rule about it. They have unrequited trauma about the fact that they are gay. They want to cheat without consequences. They found an online community that validates this fantasy. Yeah, they're clearly in a relationship together. I don't know how you can read this story and go, these guys are going to fuck random men. No, they're going to Ibiza to have a romantic lovey-dovey gay vacation together, okay? I don't know of another way to put that. That is what's happening here. Right? And they're in this position where they don't want to throw away their marriages even though they realize they're gay. So they're making up all these lies about it, right? Because they don't want to end their marriage because they're fucking gay and they're not attracted to their wife. Oh my god. You don't think they made the poster themselves? No, they totally got it online, but I don't think there's like a... I'm certain there's gay orgies that happen in Ibiza, but those two men are not going to have a gay orgy. They're going to drink fucking margaritas and then kiss each other underneath the fucking full moon, all right?
Pappy, you take us to the most interesting places.
Like you genuinely... I honestly think it's worse if the brother-in-law and husband are fucking. But, you know, at least they're keeping it in the family. I joined a sissification forum because I'm in denial about being in love with my brother-in-law. Yeah. I think there's info about the Gay-cation online from Spain. Oh my god. Let's see. What pushed me off the cliff was like, the brother-in-law said he doesn't need to make a choice because of the beauty of the Gay-cation. This allows him to keep his marriage because it doesn't count. He's definitely been kissing the husband. That's my thought as well. There's no reason for both men to share this nice fetish if they're not sharing with each other. Who knows how they are sharing? They are having gay sex together, guys. Good thing for OP that they're dumb enough to prepare a speech on how they're going to cheat on their wives instead of just going to Ibiza. I mean, yeah.
My brother and I would joke that there's nothing more destructive than a closeted gay man in denial. We haven't been proven wrong yet.
Well, see, that's what I'm picturing here is, and I know we've seen this before. I know if you have been alive for at least 20 years or more, you've seen this person before, right? The kind of guy who gets, like, you know him and you know 100% he's fucking gay. He's got fucking a rainbow coming out his ass, right? And then he gets married, right? He gets married and he's in this marriage and he's like, and he's real this, right? But you're like, brother, how are you straight? Like, what's going on there? And then they get married, and then you go to the wedding, and the wedding's great. It's fine. He's got some zesty guys. He's got some zesty guys showing up at the wedding. You're like, okay, whatever. It's his friends. But he has kids with this woman. And then the kids are like teenagers, and all of a sudden he's a middle-aged man, and he's like, holy shit, I'm gay, and I like gay sex. I like men. I'm attracted to men. I love men. I'm not attracted to any of this stuff. The friends hate the wife. Right? Right? You have seen this guy. This guy exists. This guy is a really common thing that's happening, and I think it happens a lot, especially with middle-aged men from like the late millennial generation to Gen X, right? And they fucking exist, and that is exactly what this is, right? And there are women like that too. There are women like that too. There are 100% women like that too.